All right, welcome back. Lachelle Yates from the Better Business Bureau is here answering your scam-related issue questions, also your consumer protection questions. All right, this is one that, we've had some experience with, and it's kind of a tough one. Once you have been hacked, is there a way to get your account back, even if they have changed your password?
That is a great question. And really what you need to do is reach out to whoever the business is that account is with, because they all seem to have their own individual processes. So if it was your Instagram account, reach out to Instagram. If it was your bank, reach out to them.
Yeah,
But
and
do
this
it
is
quickly.
yeah, and it's not an easy process, so be in it for the long haul for sure. All right, this person asked, what can a criminal do with a Xerox copy of my driver's license?
So one thing they can do is they need it in order to file taxes in your name, which you definitely don't want them to do. So it's just think about any personal information that is identifiable only to you is something that you don't want criminals to have, because if they haven't thought of it today, they'll think of it tomorrow.
Yeah, that's true. All right, this person is saying, on the shredding subject, how long are you supposed to keep yearly tax papers?
Yearly tax papers, I believe, is 7 years.
And then this person is asking, how long do you have to keep personal documents of a deceased relative?
That's a really good question. Again, for taxes, for you, if you're still alive, it's 7 years. So you could use that as a rule of thumb, but I'm no tax person and no financial person. So if you really want to be safe, I would say maybe Google that or call the institutions where those accounts were and ask them.
How long you might need it for a certain reason of time. All right, so this person says, my credit union checking account has been hacked several times. My debit card number has been used. Thankfully, I've called and reported it. They're investigating, and they did give me my money back, which is very nice because they don't have to do that. They can wait for a while to do that. It's a chipped card. I thought these cards were more secure.
So the chip cards really have cut down on some of that fraud of people being able to intercept those numbers because they're all scrambled up. But there's other ways people can get your card number. Maybe you gave it to somebody and they wrote it down. And they're always coming up with new ways to try to get at that information since they've used the chip.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about contractors. We just had tornadoes kind of rip through, so there are lots of people who are going to be needing some new roofs, or they're going to be needing some work on their house done, or maybe you're just revamping your house at home. You're doing a small renovation. When it comes to a contractor, what should we get in writing?
You want to get a start date and a finish date. Obviously, the total cost. You might want to know what the penalties are. Think too about how much you actually want to put down. BBB recommends about 10%. Sometimes a business is going to want more than that, but if you can only put 10% down, if they end up scamming you, you haven't lost all that much money. The other thing too is, of course, we say we're the Better Business Bureau, so come to our website, bbb.org, look for an accredited contractor or roofer, because we've vetted them and we check them every year to make sure they have a license, to make sure that they're being honest and fair in their advertising, all of their dealings. And then once you pick out accredited businesses, look for the complaints and for reviews and see what people are saying.
Yeah, and it does take a little bit of time to pick the right person, but it is also a whole lot of money that you've got going on there. A lot of people will say, well, I like to pay everything in cash, but this is one of those situations where you may not want to do that.
Absolutely, because all you're doing is giving them the chance to go cash your check or literally put those dollars in their wallet and never come back. If you can pay it with a credit card, it does give you that extra protection of at least being able to dispute a charge if the work doesn't get done.
All right, let's talk about some employment scams, because there are a lot of them going on right now. How do we know that it's an employment scam? Because so many of the job positions and the application processes look the same.
They do. And let me say up front that people are finding these fake jobs both on sites for jobs like Indeed, or they're being contacted by scammers. So something to look out for is, how do they want to do the hiring? Is it, over just text messaging and boom, you're hired? Although they are starting to use more apps where they can at least even do a face-to-face interview. So they're being a little more high touch. But another red flag is you're hired almost immediately and asked to be put to work. So that sounds great, but you could still be in danger. One, they may ask you for information so they can do a criminal background check, or to direct deposit your check, which of course is giving them all kinds of information to either steal your money or your identity. The other big thing that we're seeing are companies sending checks to people so that they can buy equipment. And unfortunately, these checks, they look real because they are. Scammers are stealing checks and just doing a little Photoshop magic to change out some information. So you go to the bank, you give it to them. They don't catch up front that it's fake. And it can take 2 weeks for a check to actually clear. Just because you've gotten the money in your account doesn't mean it's really there. And so then the scammer says, hey, we need you to buy all of this equipment. Of course, we just sent you a check for it. So you go out and you buy all of this equipment. But the problem is you're buying from a scammer's vendor. And then, of course, the bank comes back and says, hey, that check was fake and you've sent your own money to buy that equipment from the scammer.
Yeah, and I think all of us think, well, then the bank will give me my money back because they'll know that it's fake, and nope, you're the one that's on the hook. So that's always tough. Lachelle, thank you for joining us. And of course, we're going to put all the information for the Shred event and all the other resources about how to spot scams in the Who Wants to Know section.